Imagine a world where the intricate systems that deliver food to your table have utterly collapsed. Picture the grocery stores, once overflowing with abundance, now stripped bare, their aisles echoing with silence. The supply chains, those invisible lifelines that connect farms to cities, have been shattered beyond recognition. In that stark new reality, only one question will truly matter. What can you grow that will keep you and your family alive? In 2025, a landmark study from Penn State University unveiled a terrifying number. Researchers ran sophisticated simulations to understand the fallout from a full-scale nuclear war, and their findings painted a grim picture for humanity's food supply. Such a conflict could trigger a global famine, causing an immediate and catastrophic 87% failure of our most important crops. But the secret to surviving this almost unthinkable apocalypse isn't hidden in a high-tech billionaire's bunker. It's not a futuristic piece of technology. It is a forgotten idea, born from the last time the entire world was plunged into crisis, World War II. This is the story of a doomsday seed strategy, designed to work when all others fail. This is the plan to feed the survivors. Number 1. The science of nuclear winter. The term nuclear winter might sound like something out of science fiction, but the science behind it is terrifyingly real and describes a two-part global catastrophe. The first blow comes from the sky. Nuclear firestorms of a scale and intensity that defy imagination would churn millions of tons of soot and smoke into the stratosphere. This is far above the clouds, far above the rain that could ever hope to wash it away. A dark, choking shroud would wrap the planet, blotting out the sun and plunging the Earth into a dim, permanent nuclear twilight. Global temperatures would plummet. The delicate dance of agriculture we depend on, the precise timing of sun, warmth, and rain, would be extinguished almost overnight. The 2025 Penn State study used corn, the most widely planted grain on Earth, as the benchmark for their simulations. The results were staggering. A large-scale war, injecting 165 million tons of soot into the atmosphere, would cause an 80% drop in corn yields alone. But that is only the beginning of the nightmare. The second blow is invisible, insidious, and just as deadly. The same nuclear blasts that throw soot into the sky also shoot massive quantities of nitrogen oxides into the stratosphere. These chemical compounds aggressively eat away at our planet's protective ozone layer. Without it, the surface of the Earth would be bombarded by relentless, high-intensity UVB radiation. For plants, it's the equivalent of a constant DNA-shredding sunburn, crippling their ability to grow. The Penn State study estimated this secondary effect would add another 7% to crop losses, bringing the total collapse to a staggering 87%. This would not be a fleeting crisis. The climate models suggest these devastating impacts could last for more than a decade, with the Northern Hemisphere being hit the hardest and taking the longest to recover. With the global food system shattered into a million pieces, survival would come down to a new kind of agriculture, a new way of thinking. And that brings us to a compelling mystery, the doomsday seed. To find it, we must first look back in time to the last global crisis that forced an entire generation to learn how to feed itself, World War II. Number 2, the historical precedent, Victory Gardens, the 1940s, a world engulfed in war. On the home front, life was defined by sacrifice, rationing, and a desperate, patriotic drive for self-sufficiency. Much of the commercial food production was diverted to feed the military, both at home and overseas. In the spring of 1942, the United States government introduced widespread food rationing, including for essential canned goods. Suddenly, the average family had a powerful incentive to get its hands dirty. The government's answer was a brilliant and unifying campaign, victory gardens. The message was direct and powerful. Sow the seeds of victory. Propaganda posters, radio broadcasts, and community leaders urged citizens to turn every spare inch of land into a productive plot. Backyards, empty lots, public parks, even city rooftops. This wasn't just about supplementing your family's rations. It was framed as a patriotic duty. By growing your own food, you became a soldier of the soil, fighting the war from home. The movement was an unbelievable grassroots success. By 1944, an estimated 20 million American families were tending their own victory gardens. Together, they produced around 8 million tons of food annually. Incredibly, this accounted for nearly 40% of all fresh fruits and vegetables consumed in the entire country, all grown in small, decentralized, and resilient plots. They were a powerful symbol of American resilience and a practical solution to a nationwide crisis. Number 3, the World War II seed philosophy. So, is this where our quest for the World War II seed begins and ends? Was there a secret plant, a supercrop developed in a hidden government lab, a single perfect doomsday seed like that fed a nation? The truth is both a slight disappointment and a profound revelation. The hunt for a single magical seed is a dead end. There is no forgotten vault containing a miracle plant. There is no all-purpose World War II seed, but the idea of it is very real. The World War II seed is not an object. It is a philosophy. It is the spirit of the Victory Garden, modernized for a new and even more terrifying threat. It is the fundamental understanding that in a true crisis, you do not bet everything on a single perfect solution. You rely on a diverse portfolio of tough, reliable, and adaptable crops. The true lesson from World War II wasn't about a specific type of carrot or bean. It was the powerful demonstration that when centralized systems fail, it is decentralized, local food production that saves you. The secret isn't the seed itself, it's the strategy. Number 4, the modern Victory Garden kit. So, if there's no single magic seed, what does a modern Victory Garden, one designed for nuclear winter, actually look like? What are the real seeds you would need to survive? The answer comes not just from history, but from the hard data of that same 2025 Penn State study and other modern research into agricultural resilience. Scientists call the solution agricultural resilience kits. This isn't just a random bag of seeds you'd buy at a hardware store. It's a carefully curated collection of plants, specifically chosen to survive in a new hostile world. The old rules of gardening would be completely rewritten. Forget long, sunny seasons and gentle warmth. The new reality would be defined by 3 brutal challenges: drastically colder temperatures, significantly less sunlight, and a constant chemical assault from UVB radiation. Most modern crops we rely on, like corn and soybeans, would be rendered useless. Survival means planting things that are inherently tough, fast-growing, and cold-tolerant. So what's in this doomsday kit? Research has identified a handful of champions for this grim new world. First, you need the calorie powerhouses. These are the crops that provide the raw energy needed for survival. Think of high-calorie root crops like sugar beets and turnips, which are protected underground, and efficient, cold-tolerant grains like wheat. The classic survival crop, the potato, faces a serious challenge. While the tuber itself is a powerhouse of calories, its delicate foliage is highly sensitive to frost, making it far less reliable than hardy wheat in a nuclear winter scenario. Next, you need the nutrient providers. To fight off disease and malnutrition, you need vitamins and minerals. This means planting nutrient-dense, cold-tolerant greens like spinach, kale, and cabbage, and frost-resistant root vegetables like carrots and chicory. Finally, There are the adapters. The Penn State study made a fascinating discovery. While modern corn would be decimated, switching to faster maturing, more cold-adapted varieties could meaningfully offset some of the catastrophic losses. The biggest problem, researchers noted, would be having enough of these specialized seeds ready to go, a problem they called a bottleneck to adaptation. Number 5, beyond the seed, a resilient system. But even a perfectly curated seed is useless if it's not part of a larger resilient system. Having the right seeds is only the first crucial step. To survive the decade or more of recovery, you need a system that solves one of the most overlooked problems of any post-apocalyptic scenario: energy. Imagine it for a moment. You have the right seeds. You have secured a plot of land. But how do you run a tractor, a tiller, or a grain mill when the gas stations have been empty for years? This is where a humble plant like canola becomes one of the most important crops in the entire world. We know it today for its cooking oil, but it is also an incredibly effective feedstock for making biodiesel. Crucially, the crop is frost-resistant, making it a viable option even in the colder, darker world of a nuclear winter. A significant portion of your agricultural effort must be dedicated not to feeding people directly, but to feeding the machines that help you feed people. It is the ultimate closed-loop system of survival. But even that is not enough. A truly resilient plan must expand beyond traditional field crops. Broader research into resilient food sources points to several other key strategies. First, greenhouses. Even simple, low-tech cold frames can create protective microclimates, shielding plants from the worst of the cold and UV radiation, extending the precious growing season. Second, seaweed farming. This is a brilliant solution that requires no land, no fresh water, and no fuel. Seaweed is incredibly nutritious, grows at astonishing rates, and would be buffered from the immediate, drastic temperature drops on land. Number 6, the human factor and practical steps. This brings us to the most important element of all, the human factor. Researchers now argue that the old model of waiting for a disaster to strike before providing aid is completely obsolete. True preparedness must happen before a crisis. This means national stockpiles of specialized non-hybrid seeds and detailed regional food production plans are critical. But in a world where international coordination can no longer be guaranteed, the responsibility falls to nations, to communities, and ultimately, it falls to you. This isn't about spreading fear. It is about empowerment. Building your own personal survival arc is a profound act of taking control in an uncertain world. Here's a practical guide based directly on the research for how to begin. First, know your new climate. You cannot use your current agricultural zone as a guide. You must plan for a world that is significantly colder and darker. A good rule of thumb is to think of the climate several hundred miles north of your current location. Prioritize plants known for extreme cold tolerance and short maturity times. Second, assemble your seed portfolio. Your goal is a diverse collection of non-hybrid, open-pollinated seeds. Open pollination is absolutely critical. It means you can save the seeds from your own harvest, and they will grow true to type the following year. It is the key to a self-sustaining food source. Your portfolio must include the nuclear winter champions: cold-adapted wheat, sugar beets, spinach, carrots, turnips, and hardy kale. And it must include the engine of your survival, canola for fuel. Diversity is your ultimate insurance policy. Third, think beyond seeds. Your survival kit must include durable, simple hand tools, a sturdy shovel, a sharp hoe, a broad fork, but even more importantly, it must include knowledge. Start collecting physical books on four-season gardening, food preservation techniques like canning, and seed saving. In a world without the internet, this physical library will be priceless. Fourth, build a microenvironment. Learn how to construct a simple cold frame from old reclaimed windows and scrap lumber. Master building a low tunnel from PVC pipe and plastic sheeting. These simple structures act as miniature greenhouses, shielding your plants and extending your precious growing season by weeks or even months. Fifth, practice now. This is, without a doubt, the most important step of all. A sealed box of seeds stored in your basement is nothing more than hope. A thriving garden in your backyard is a skill. Do not just store the seeds. Plant them. Learn how to deal with local pests, how to amend your soil, how to preserve your harvest. Experience is the one resource you cannot stockpile at the last minute. The lessons you learn in a normal, peaceful year are the very skills that will save you and your family in a crisis. So, the World War II seed that survives nuclear winter is not a mythical plant from a forgotten age. It is something far more powerful. It is a concept. It is a plan. It is a portfolio of tough, scientifically vetted crops, ready for the unthinkable. It is the modern victory garden, armed with the knowledge and the tools to survive. We started this journey with a terrifying number, an 87% collapse of global agriculture, a figure that represents a world consumed by famine and despair. But the research shows us this does not have to be the end of the story. From the cold, hardy strength of wheat and carrots, to the urban efficiency of spinach and sugar beets, to the dual-use genius of canola, we have a blueprint for survival. The enduring spirit of the Victory Garden was never about waiting for salvation to arrive. It was about creating it with your own two hands. Preparedness is not an act of fear. It is an act of profound hope. It is taking responsibility not just for yourself, but for your community. It is becoming a source of strength in a fragile world. The ultimate doomsday bunker is not made of concrete and steel. It's made of soil, seeds, and knowledge. The only question is, will you start building yours?